The Trudeau cabinet and what to make of it. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. Look, I spent the day out at Rideau Hall today with the throngs of ordinary Canadians who showed up to welcome our new Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, Crown Prince of all the Canadas. They wanted to touch him on the way in. They wanted to touch him on the way out, get a selfie, touch the robes of the Prince. It was also touching, but at the end of the day, Trudeau was there to swear in his cabinet. And for better or worse, we have to live with this cabinet. So what are we dealing with? Well, let's take a quick look at some of the people that are in it. Justin Trudeau, elected on a promise of real change. Well, who's first on the list they handed us of the cabinet ministers? Ralph Goodale. Ralph Goodale is the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness and a man first elected to the House of Commons in 1974 when Justin Trudeau and I were 3 years old. Couldn't tie our shoes, but Ralph was already an MP. That's real change for you. Next on the list, Lawrence McCallum. He is the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food. He was first elected to the House of Commons in 1988 when Justin Trudeau and I were finishing off high school. We were, 17 years old? But hey, that's real change for you. Lawrence McCallum in charge of agriculture and agri-food. A man who, by the way, back in the Chretien era, had to resign his cabinet post. I believe he was Solicitor General because of ethics concerns, granting nice, sums of government money to a school run by his brother. Next on the list, we've got the Honourable Stephane Dion, who's going to be the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Now, look, I have a lot of respect for Stephane Dion. This is a man of integrity and principles. He may have been a horrible party leader, but he's been a competent cabinet minister in the past, especially in the Chretien era. Yep, nothing says real change like continually going back to the Chretien era. But Dion is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, yet he's also chair of a cabinet committee on climate change, which makes me think, our foreign affairs is going to be tilted towards climate change over the next little while. Next on the list, John McCallum. He's our Minister of Citizenship. Oh, sorry, no, they've changed the name. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. That's the new name of the department, and that is his ministry. Well, John McCallum is a man that once called himself old stock at a public meeting. You remember when that was considered a racist term, just back in the last election when Stephen Harper used it. Well, John McCallum used it to describe himself. He's also a man that didn't know whether India was at odds with Pakistan or Afghanistan over the issue of the Kashmir, didn't know the difference between Vimy and Vichy, and let's not talk about McCallum and planes. Carolyn Bennett is the Minister of Indigenous and Northern Affairs. This is a woman who, well, let's just say Carolyn Bennett is loopy. But at one point during I believe it was the swine flu outbreak, she sent a political mailing to a northern area filled with a lot of Indigenous peoples that was implying, had pictures of body bags and was implying this is all the Harper government wants to send you. Class act, Carolyn Bennett. Glad you got a real cabinet post. Scott Brison is in charge of Treasury Board. Now, Treasury Board is the department that works hand in glove with the finance minister. They're the ones that actually control the purse strings. I wish we were getting the old Scott Brison. This is the Scott Brison that, as both Liberal and Conservative, used to call for paying down deficits, paying down debt, campaigned for leadership of the Progressive Conservative Party, saying we need to bring in income splitting. That Scott Brison, I welcome in this portfolio. Instead, we're going to get the Scott Brison that will be cheering on deficits. Now, speaking of finance ministers, well, Bill Morneau is finance minister. Who's he? He's someone that comes from the private sector. He's new to politics, but he helped run one of Canada's largest human resources personnel firms. This is a man that knows his way around a successful business, knows his way around a spreadsheet, balancing a books, meeting a payroll. These are all good things because one of the other top contenders we kept hearing was Chrystia Freeland, a woman who was a finance journalist and reveres economists like Thomas Piketty and Emmanuel Saez, who believe in tax rates of 70% and up. By the way, Chrystia Freeland is in cabinet. She is the Minister for Trade. Marc Garneau is going to be the Minister of Transport. I think this is a good choice. Marc Garneau is a competent man, an intelligent man. He's a former astronaut, of course, former Canadian Forces pilot. This is a man who will, I think, excel in his job. And another one that I think is a good choice is Harjit Singh. I hope I'm saying his name correct. He is our new Minister of National Defense. I don't know the man at all. We'll learn more about him in the future, but he is a veteran who served in Afghanistan and has been a police officer before going into politics. So this is at least someone who knows the department that he's going into. Everyone expected Andrew Leslie would be in cabinet, that he'd be the Minister of National Defence. Sorry, General, you lost out to someone of a much lower rank, but we'll see if that's a good thing or not in a little while. I am not looking forward to the next 4 years of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, but the fact is we've got to live with these people, so we've got to hope that they do the best for the country. Not good enough that they get reelected, but good enough that they don't mess things up too badly.